Notes. Many details are omitted and some original meaning is lost. They are not exact words from Cobra and Isis. Notes taken by Antares during the conference, translation Pippa, edited by Nova Biscotti and Cobra. Cobra on Saturday, April 16. Cobra welcomed us and emphasized that we all made this Ascension Conference a reality. He said this was a reflection of the showing progress. The drastically changing situation allows these conferences to take place and there will be another in due time. Isis thanked us for coming and talked about the fact that we all together would create a big mandala of light with our hearts, a light vortex to accelerate the awakening and support the planet. After the meditation that we used to get in the right mood and let go old energies, Cobra started with the first topic, the galactic alignment and the galactic superwave. The purpose of the conference was to help provide the victory of light to leverage eventually. However, the event is only the first step, it is only the beginning of the ascension process. Not until the occupation of the earth is over, we will be able to start unfolding our real potential. Here we already want to reach beyond this goal. The new era we are talking about is the time after the event. Currently we are being in a cleansing phase. If we focused on the here and now, we would lose the perspective. Therefore the primary relevance is to pay attention to the time after the event. The actual understanding of the master plan is of paramount importance. Always the light forces have had a plan that was powerful from the beginning and have been adjusting it to the ever-changing situation. Therefore, the more we can conceptualize the plan, the better we will understand the overall situation. If all of the 200 people in this room carried further their understanding about this, a chain reaction would arise which leading to greater global understanding and more awakening. There are numerous misunderstandings about what is right and what is wrong. We not only need mental understanding of the big picture, but to get facts straight concerning the situation. Our energies are the portal for transformation. Participation in the conference is triggering a first-hand transformation process, which will not last just 2 days, but may become a life-altering experience. We had to unlearn what we have learned. Cobra briefly elaborates on the programming we have experienced since our birth. Our new alignment of the group also enables the new cycle for the Earth. The first layer of the programming arose many thousand years, or even million years, ago when we went into quarantine to transform the Earth from this point. We went into quarantine to both transform the situation here on this planet as well as the cosmos. The only way to reach this point was to enter into a contract with the controlling forces, which included implantation at the time of incarnation also by crystals. Its main effect was our separation from the source, between human and divine, up to the distinction between personality and spirit. The first layer of the programming was and still is the identity of separation. Every subsequent program is linked to it. For each incarnation that followed, like the present, a new contract had to be agreed to, whereby the first consequence at birth is the implantation. Therefore the erasure of all reminders about former lives is associated, and this is a very painful procedure, which is the reason why babies cry when they are born. Because the remembrances are cut off, the path is cleared to adopt all parental paradigms, beliefs imposed by our parents as children. Ambient emotions, which can be very conflicting, are fully absorbed. This programming is completed firstly by kindergarten, then further indoctrination via the educational system, media, dominating trends, and fashion. With this we are fully adapted to the slavery system. The whole programming cycle is reinforced in that way. Once we start to awake, however, we will start asking questions. We will question the systems of beliefs and thereby deconstruct them step by step. In this context, Cobra mentioned the film conspiracy theory, which amplifies the right and wrong conspiracy theories that we are detecting in parts already. Now it will be up to all of us to discover in what kind of energies and world we are living. The galactic alignment. The members of this conference came from 22 countries, and all continents except Antarctica. Some maybe even from other planets, as Cobra remarked with a twinkle in his eye. Who knows? All the stars, and actually all of those we can see at nighttime, are located in this small circle representing a branch of the Milky Way. By this example, the importance becomes obvious to see things from a different perspective. Here on Earth we see just a tiny fraction of reality because our eyes have the skill to only capture a small proportion of the electromagnetic range. To express it bluntly, we see and feel virtually nothing. Within this small circle we see all the stars in the night sky. The Milky Way as a whole only appears as a milky cloud in which, except from the small selection, no other stars are recognizable. The overwhelming vast majority of the stars, as well as all the additional existing galaxies, are invisible to us. Again, Cobra pointed out how important it is to expand our perception concerning the physical and non-physical horizons. Cobra showed a picture which was taken during his flight above the veil, and he claimed to have learned a lot about the Chimera group as a result of this experience. The energies beyond the veil are very much better than on Earth. He felt like having taken a bath in tachyons, which feels like being in a tachyon chamber, except that the chamber is literally everywhere. In this place one is able to feel and experience the galactic ocean of light and love. There is much more out there. One part of the things that happen around us is part of the galactic plan, and another part is caused by the controlling dark forces. We are instruments within the mission of the light forces, we are ambassadors of light. We have been trained for innumerable lifetimes to apply our abilities, interests, and certain other things now in this appropriate way. Some things and activities may temporarily seem to be unrelated to this plan, but talents and abilities all of a sudden may become vitally necessary. Somebody who likes driving his or her car very fast may have the day come when the same ability is needed to navigate a spacecraft. For this, specific reflex and coordination skills are required. The same applies to video games, for example. In the next phase after the first contact, demonstrating these skills are part of the divine plan, therefore we should cultivate and use these talents now. We will use them to a fuller extent after the first contact. In every one of us various talents and abilities are being awakened by the inrushing energies. Currently these skills may still be latent, asleep, but they will be activated suddenly, and then we will experience an intense phase of integration. We then will undergo a relearning of these talents and we will re-experience them. The free will, however, is the greatest problem. Although numerous people have developed several talents, they do not follow their inner guidance. In this way only slow-moving growth takes place. If 100% of the key persons had followed their inner guidance, we would have had experienced the event in 1996. The people in this conference room follow their guidance at least up to 50% or more. Otherwise they would not be here. This is a good sign. The more people awaken to their guidance and gifts, the more the process will be accelerated. May this conference contribute to it, and pass on to all the readers around the world. The awakening of the group will be accelerated by the galactic energy. Our energy consists of a double helix. In the center is the galactic central sun, the heart of the galaxy, a stargate. The central sun is the source of light and love. At 25,000 year intervals it sends out a heart pulse. Now we are exactly in the middle of this heart pulse. This is not New Age mumbo-jumbo, but is founded on facts. The Earth axis is currently aimed at Polaris. The precessional movement of the Earth's axis is related to this galactic pulse. The galactic central sun sends a pulse that synchronizes the whole galaxy. As a consequence, also the tilt of Earth's axis will be adjusted. In doing so, the solstices in summer and winter play an interesting role. In 1975 the Earth began to adjust with the galactic equator during the winter solstice. This will continue until 2020. So at every first moment of winter, approximately 3 days, a portal opens to the galactic equator. The galactic equator is the symmetry plane of the disc-shaped Milky Way. That is why there is direct access from the galactic central sun via the suns to the Earth every 25,000 years, currently always on the first day of winter. This cosmic portal causes transformation. 25,000 years ago the Earth happened to get in a quarantine status. In the middle of this time period, Approximately 13.000 years ago, Atlantis fell and disappeared. There was a mass extinction of many species on this planet. It was the end of Ice Age and global cataclysms took place. This we will not experience, but a cooperative transformation of consciousness. The galactic superwave that occurs every 25.000 years due to this heart pulse, energies and particles are sent into the whole galaxy. This is why our sun is getting more active and a change in the climate is taking place. Therefore we have been experiencing all the freak weather lately. Many of us have been recognizing that we feel a bit strange when we are exposed to direct sunlight. The sun now has got a different power, a different intensity. All the weather patterns are changing and this is influencing our consciousness. Everything that has been suppressed so far is being influenced and we experience a profound purification process. The galactic superwave is very powerful and cannot be stopped. This inevitably leads to the event. All changes we can see around us now are not simply unrelated local political alterations here and there, but the entire planetary situation will be changed totally. This will lead us into the golden age. The galactic source energy is transforming our planet. The first important energy that plays a vital part are tachyons. They are the first particles in our universe and are directly connected with the source. They are not only responsible for balance, but also for transformation. The whole galaxy is full of tachyons. However, the veil and various technologies prevent them from reaching our planet. The Pleiadians have given Cobra technical information to build tachyon chambers. Now there exists one sort of chambers for healing and another to energize several substances. The galactic superwave is the basis for the whole transformation process. That's why all this is happening here and is exactly the reason why we are here at this time. We were inspired and guided to be here. Just now it is of paramount importance for us all to connect with our spiritual guide. Especially since April the power of the galactic superwave has been rising. NASA has recorded a gamma ray that came from the central Sunday. In 1977 NASA started the probe Voyager 2 within their project. It travels through our solar system and is now located at its outermost region. This recorded gamma ray is the result of the galactic activities. Therefore the light forces have been very active and Cobra spoke about it in his last report. Cobra illustrated that two interesting things are happening. Our sun is sending the particles in every direction and pushing them outside. They are colliding with the interstellar particles coming from the galactic central sun and from everywhere. As a result there is a crash, the termination shock. This circumstance plays a vital role for our fate. The heliopause is located slightly outside the termination shock. This is the area where the light forces have been positioning their motherships for some time past. These are regulating the flow of energies and beings in and out of the solar system. According to many of the predicted catastrophes, we would have earthquakes and mankind would be wiped out already. Thanks to these motherships we are here and protected. The people publishing those prophecies are not aware of the protective measures around our solar system. Due to the reason mentioned, the predicted catastrophes will not happen. The motherships are our safeguards. Cobra showed a picture of Jupiter that was taken on March 17, 2016. It shows a light flashing at the bottom edge which was officially declared as a meteorite impact. According to Cobra, it was in fact a mothership that exposed shortly. These ships have diameters ranging from 500 to 1000 kilometers, are well camouflaged and are located everywhere. This is part of the disclosure process that these ships show themselves for some seconds to not provoke exuberant reactions. During a recent stroll, Isis and Cobra felt an impulse to look in a certain direction and they saw such an exposed ship for a short time. Since March, more and more exposures have been taken place and there are really motherships of the Galactic Confederation among them. The Sintamani stone plays a vital role in the process of disclosure. Million years ago a planet in the Sirius star system exploded. Fragments had been catapulted through the galaxy and hit Earth at a certain point. Of all the stones on Earth, the Sintamani stone presently has the highest possible vibration. The Sintamani project stones have been placed in many key vortices around the world. Recently a Japanese US-American team succeeded in bringing a Sintamani stone via South America into the Antarctica. Randomly they could get the last flight before winter season, which starts in April 1st. Cobra thanked everybody who put stones in place. Questions addressed to Cobra: why are the ships exposing now? The ships are exposing to support the increase of consciousness of the people. Till when we have to ascend. Basically, there is no time frame for the ascension. However, the time frame for the begin of the process is determined between 1975 and 2025. This may speed up in groups, but everybody will have enough time to do so in their way. Once the ascension will have been started, everything will take place very fast. When there are no parallel Earths, what about parallel timelines? Fundamentally, all parallel timelines are potential futures within the possibilities of quanta. Finally, the consciousness of the group will decide what will be manifested. As most of the people do not practice their free will, a small group of people has to decide, as is often the case in history of the earth, what will happen and what will be manifested. It is always the highest form of consciousness which decides what happens. A group exactly like this, at the conference, changes the timelines. Therefore the light forces ask for these specific group meditations, because with this the timelines can be enhanced effectively. What are these light balls on earth which are reported about? These occur because of various beings, etheric beings that are also a bit physical. There are more inhabitants on earth than we can imagine. What happens when I carry the Sintamani stone in my trouser pocket? The Sintamani stone creates an energy field which has a transforming effect. It guides us. What will the animals do during the ascension? They experience their own transformation process. Especially during the last decades, the animals have been suffering from many shocks that have to heal. However, some animals are a few steps ahead of us in their development. Nova Biscotti comment: physicists would describe plasma as ionized gas, whereas a skilled occultist would describe plasma as a hidden plane/dimension between the gaseous and the fourth etheric plane. This quote was taken from this post of Cobra's in October 2014. The plasma octopus in this graphic, the levels of dimensions, states of matter, are displayed. Cobra responded to the basics: there is the seemingly solid physical, the liquid, and the gaseous level. If the gaseous decays, by energy input, when the electrons elope, so to speak, and break away from the atom nuclei, plasma emerges. Plasma is strange to us, it has consciousness which can be positive or negative. All the information about plasma has been suppressed, however, it is a crucial part in our liberation. A lot is said about the physical and the etheric part, but nothing about plasma. Plasma is actually everywhere, and once we realize how plasma works, we will know how certain drive systems, over unity and free energy, are put into operation. Free energy will then be available for free for everyone. In the treatment, knowledge about plasma is required, as illness is a distortion of the signature of the plasma body. The controlling authorities have techniques to influence the plasma field and keep us imprisoned. If we understand these dynamics, we can escape from our prison. Till now already methods of physical and etheric healing exist. The etheric medicine uses knowledge about vortexes and meridians, like in the Chinese medicine. The knowledge about energy bodies is used with several other alternative healing methods. Only the Western conventional medicine integrates just the physical part. Now the plasma medicine has started to develop, which is a truly new area of healing. Due to plasma we can feel the emotions in our body. We can feel the etheric field of the emotional body. We are strongly in contact with the astral plane, e.g. during a rock concert or rush hour in the city. Via the mental level we are in contact with thoughts and belief systems, our own as well as the one of the planet. Here we need to learn to decide what is included within the present natural human field, and to distinguish what leads us into artificial belief systems, like religions, that control us by means of advanced technologies. Cobra said that the people really believe strange things without scrutinizing. As soon as one questions the belief systems, one is able to pass through the clouds. Thanks to the internet, which is an important tool of the light forces to liberate the planet, it is possible for us now to understand several incoherences. If we in connection with our higher self, we can determine much better what is right and what is wrong. Above and beyond the mental level there is the higher spiritual level, the source of our being and our guide. Stated in dimensions, the third one is the physical, the fourth one the astral or mental level beneath, and the fifth one is the higher mental level. Everything else lies above. Plasma is a living being, not a dead energy field. In this picture, it looks like a huge vortex. This is an official fact and not the idea of Cobra. This living being, called the octopus, had already been named by the Gnostics as Yaldabaoth. It was created and kept alive by the deep occult forces. It keeps the solar system imprisoned, and the included, contained, strangelet bombs slow the progress. The light forces are removing this now with greater speed. Here we can see that these forces on Earth have been very conscious about their actions. Around 25,000 years ago, the controlling forces decided to create the veil to establish quarantine and occupy the Earth. At that time the Earth was a heavenly planet they wanted for themselves. They brought the majority of their forces to this place. The scalar barrier regulated who should and should not enter and escape. Several waves of beings came to rescue the Earth, and they were not allowed to leave. Ultimately, they were kept imprisoned via the incarnation process. The humankind was imposed with this severe programming because otherwise they simply could have kept moving freely. Above all these bases on this picture, each flight of UFOs is being detected and punished. The light forces are hindered to enter. Motherships can only expose themselves shortly, as they would be detected immediately. Cobra refers to Diego Garcia. It is a basis for the SSBs that is located far out in the ocean, so that activities cannot be observed by unwanted spectators. This is also the place where the disappeared plane MH370 was landed. Currently the light forces are removing the strangelet and toplet bombs. More and more energy of light is getting to the planet, and many light beings are arriving here. For example, archangels are dissolving the veil as cosmic light beings. More and more light vortices are being established and activated. Wherever a Sintamani stone is placed, angels are coming to clear and create the vortex. The SSPS, the secret space programs. We have already heard several whistleblowers speaking about the SSP. Cobra showed pictures and photos from those ships. The basis for the SSBs had already been established in the 19th century. At that time Germany was the country with the best technical knowledge. The scientific and industrial field was flourishing. The Pleiadians decided to contact awakened people and to inspire them in building spaceships. So there were attempts in building those ships, but technically it was not possible yet. The Pleiadians contacted, channeling, media to broadcast information about the building of ships. In the beginning of the 20th century the attempt was successful with Maria Orsic from Zagreb. She received the information from the Pleiadians and Aldebarans, who are part of the Pleiadian group. Maria Orsic gave then the information to Professor Schumann in Munich. A prototype was built in 1923 in Augsburg with this information. This technical group was infiltrated by forces of a different opinion, which is known from history. At the beginning of the Nazi period, technique developed swiftly, and all those who misused the latest developments had access to enormous financial sources, fabrics, and peons. In 1942 already a moon base of the Nazis existed. There they met beings who fought with them, the Draconians. The Nazis had been defeated, only few remained on the moon. When the WW2 was over in 1945, there were two factions. The more secret Kammler faction that had built underground bases on the planet escaped to Argentina, wherefrom the Nazis moved to Antarctica. The second group was taken over by the repeatedly quoted Operation Paperclip into the USA. The best known representative was Wernher von Braun, who was head of NASA for a long period of time. NASA was established as a front organization to manage the SSBs secretly. By the time NASA started 1961 with space flights, big ships already flew around secretly. The Kamler fraction had already been on Moon in the years 1944–1945 via Antarctica. After the WW2 they expanded in the whole solar system. They met the Draconians and made a pact about the first SSP and have been ruling the whole solar system and beyond since then. This cooperation lasted for a long time. The statements Corey Good made in this issue are real. This involves the so-called Dark Fleet up there. This is no science fiction, but actual knowledge. From the other faction, thousands of the German Nazis had been brought to the USA, scientists, technicians, people from the economic field. The official space programs were controlled by NASA under the leadership of Wernher von Braun. According to Cobra, there were different tendencies among the NASA employees, of which one created a positive space program. The controllers, however, tried to suppress everything. The official moon landing with Neil Armstrong was pushed through by the positive NASA members. Therefore, the official moon landing was a visible success and an effort of the light forces on the surface of the Earth. But Wernher von Braun and his subordinates carried out several acts of sabotage that caused incidents and disaster. Another big success of the positive people within this area was the sending of Voyager 1 and 2 into the solar system. In the meantime, these probes have made recordings of all planets in the solar system, except from Pluto. In January 1986, objects that were obviously artificial had been photographed on moons of Uranus, and these photos had been published in the mass media. Again, it was not what the saboteurs wanted, and that led to the explosion of the Space Shuttle Challenger 2 days later, which took the attention of the masses away repeatedly. The photos and their importance fell into oblivion. Even when much is spoken badly about NASA, there are really good people who publish a lot positive forces within the US military. In the early 1950s was already a positive group in the US Navy. The controlling forces suppressed the anti-gravity drive with all their power, although it was the main drive for most of the unknown flying objects on Earth. This positive group recognized that something went wrong and established a task force by which they secretly built their own ships. They had connections to people in the companies like Douglas, Boeing, etc. that usually build planes. From there they branched off components so that in the beginning in planes and spaceships were the same seats, for example. With these similar components they built spaceships and brought them into the Earth orbit. They were the founders of the Solar Warden SSP. Solar Warden grew and was expanded as a protection against negative aliens. It then was an official program and became too big and international. The Dracos infiltrated companies like Lockheed and Boeing with their own people to change the focus on the top level of the program. Then they needed a lot of staff, in other words soldiers, who have been told to be there for the safety of the Earth. With this the Dracos indeed created the possibility to invade. The group became stronger and their sources of capital were solely the black budgets. The first source was all the gold the Nazis robbed in Asia during WW2. Building of the underground bases and the construction of the spaceships were financed with thousands and thousands of tons of gold. As they became even more powerful they created their own, secret space, programs, as reported correctly by Corey. In this corporate conglomerate program several business ventures had been established as part of Solar Warden, to mine resources on the asteroids, found Mars bases and to use large-scale slave labor. In this context Cobra showed pictures, photos as well as artistic presentations, which are close to reality. He showed a NASA photo with a Solar Warden ship and a photo that captured a Solar Warden ship during the start on the Moon. Officially, the ships have to fly camouflaged, but on this picture, the pilot was probably a bit lazy and pressed the button, for cloaking, too late. Cobra showed another photo that showed a fleet deliberately flying uncloaked in order to be filmed, which was also confirmed by Corey, in the Kepler crater where a base of Solar Warden is located/was located. Now about the second source, collectively we all pay taxes, but how much is that together? The USA alone collects enough tax revenue to buy 10 million houses per year. Do they build them? No. Where did all the money go? It went into the SSBs, to build underground bases. Cobra showed an image of the Pine Gap base in Australia with several subterranean levels. The elevator moves down several miles, which of course was expensive to build. After the resistant movement has been clearing this base, it had been shut down. Cobra showed pictures. What is mined on the asteroids? Diamonds. Many of the asteroids are full of huge diamonds, as large as the conference room, and there is gold to just collect. Cobra showed another photo taken by NASA which showed the asteroid mining, a building, and the mine shaft. Since March, the light forces have been cleaning the outer solar system where the dark fleet used to reside. The Chimera barrier is a huge fleet of spaceships with strangelet bombs. This fleet prevents the energies coming from the galactic center to enter the solar system. The light forces are now removing it. The light forces are clearing everything layer by layer because it had been built in layers over the last 25,000 years. The light forces now deconstruct this huge fleet. The ones from the Kuiper belt have already been removed. All these ships were disguised, and therefore invisible for physical instruments. Questions addressed to Cobra: to what extent is Russia involved in the secret space program? Russia has its own space program, designated by Cory as UNO-like, that is connected in positive cooperation with many countries and even with the Ashta Command. The Dark Forces tried to overtake it in 1954, but the Pleiadians negotiated the permission to build a base on Bora Bora that is part of the galactic program. How much slave labor is still there on the bases? Almost everything has been adjusted. How old is Ashta in Earth years? Ashta is an ascended being that ascended 25,000 years ago. He has no age in Earth years. What happens with the Chimera ships during the clearing? The light forces enter the ship, the beings on it are sent to the central sun. Then the ship will be deconstructed. What is your opinion on the European space flight program? They are not infiltrated. They are not very successful but have good intentions. The light forces in the solar system. We just talked about the SSP ships. How do these ships disguise/uncover? All ships have got a thin tachyon membrane on their surface. This ensures that all particles that come from the ship and come up against the ship make it virtually invisible, namely to the eye, all forms of technology and the radar. Even the energy signature of the ship cannot be detected, e.g. by techniques of remote viewing, hence the ship is there and yet not there. Cobra explained that in the inner ring up to the Earth Moon and around the fleet of the Ashta Command is stationed. Its purpose is the liberation of the Earth. As already explained, the Ashta Command has contacted the human population as early as 1953/1954. A ship landed in the Edward Air Force Base in California and a meeting took place with President Eisenhower, the Jesuits, and other high-level persons. The delegation of the Ashta Command offered advanced techniques and spiritual progress for mankind, provided that, however, all nuclear weapons will be destroyed. Consequently, the military freaked out and cancelled the meeting. Officially, Eisenhower had a dental appointment that day. The delegation of the Ashta Command left the base. They expressed that others would come who were not that friendly and positive. These were the Dracos who have been infiltrated the whole political system, therefore all the politicians look funny today. Today great-granddaughter Laura Eisenhower plays an important role in the disclosure process. At the last conference, Cobra pointed out that just in these past days in March 2015 Putin was missing for a while according to the press. Cobra explained that Putin have had a meeting with the Pleiadians on one of their bases in Siberia. Within the cooperation with the Pleiadians, the Russian military receives progressive, defensive, technologies that, among others, were used in the Syria war. The Pleiadians advise for interventions and also for strategic questions. So therefore behind the good strategist Putin, as he is also called, there is the Pleiadian mastermind. Putin once had a deep spiritual experience with the Pleiadians. Because Tsarist was thrown out of Russia, he tried to take vengeance. As an approach to knock off Putin, the Panama Papers were published. The Russian media is allowed to openly speak about the role of the Rothschilds and about Soros. And the Panama Papers backfired on them. Furthermore, Cobra talked about the Ashta Command, which in the 1950s tried to get in contact with developed beings on the planet. Unfortunately, this wowed the contacted persons like a messiah complex in the sense of Jesus will save the planet. The reality, however, is that only we as a whole will save the planet. Not just you or me, but we all together. After these attempts, the Ashta Command had to change its strategy, namely so much so that nobody could act the part of a guru, or an individual could make himself out to be something special. Therefore they used channeling, and in the time frame between about 1980 and 1996 a lot of channelings with well-justified contents took place. But, when the New Age movement has become popular, everybody channeled Ashta. As a reaction to this, and especially after their invasion in the year 1996, the Archons had developed the Voice of God technology. It is an electromagnetically impulse that directly aims at synapses in the brain and is being aimed at certain people. As a consequence, a significant distortion and a lot of disinformation arose within the channeling community, which led to the familiar and visible effects. Then the Ashta Command had to change its strategy again. Cobra said that he could not talk about the current strategy, but it would amaze 99.9% of the population. It will be a huge surprise. The Ashta Command still hides within the inner ring with ships in the size of 500 kilometers and more. The second fleet is stationed in the orbit of Jupiter. The intention of the Jupiter Command is to balance the energy of the solar system, to allow the energy of love and grace to infuse everything. The bases of the Jupiter Command are on the Jupiter moons, on Callisto, Europa and Ganymede, but not on Io, that is volcanic. On Ganymede there also is this huge center wherefrom the dark forces are sent into the central Sunday. Also the Jupiter Command has an enormous string of vessels with sizes between 1,000 and 2,000 kilometers. Ships of the Galactic Confederation, who originate from various races of the galaxy and the galactic center, are stationed in the third ring. These very advanced races from near the galactic central sun have huge motherships of the size about 5,000 to 10,000 kilometers. They are not motherships in the proper meaning of the word, but biospheres, artificial ships of light, which are also portals that transform the light from the galactic central sun. The beings of the central race are those who Corey is talking about as sphere beings. Cobra showed a picture with Ashta and considered it as the best illustration he could find. He shows a picture of Ganymede and emphasizes the Galileo area, the darker oval-shaped region in the top of the picture, where the strongest light portal in the solar system is located. This points at the Sirius system and the other is pointed at the galactic central sun. This Ganymede region is the only place in the solar system which had never been conquered by the dark forces. It has always maintained the light. Cobra mentioned Mt. Shasta, where the Ashta Command has a very powerful presence. He showed a cloud ship, picture above. Water of a physical cloud encases the ship, whereas the ship is not exposed. It allows the cloud to wrap around. In some of these clouds specific structures of ships can be located, a kind of domes. The ascended masters are actually beings that went through incarnations on Earth and achieved ascendancy. They assisted with the planetary evolution. We all know them or know about them: Buddha, St. Germain, etc. Surely it is a good thing to connect with them, but thereby an uncommon phenomenon occurs. They all ascended before 1996. Afterwards the situation on Earth has changed drastically, and now they need our experiences to learn how it is here. Only then they are actually able to guide us, if they can, through our experiences, take the other situation into account that is new for them. Different opportunities are known out of history, that the ascended beings have interfered successfully in pivotal moments of history. So they have manifested during the time of the Templars to be their guide. St. Germain was present while forming the USA, whereas the Foundation Charter is one of the most enlightening documents on the planet. The energies of the ascended beings are so powerful that they have to dim them down or dilute them if they get in contact with us. Nobody in this room would survive their direct attendance. Cobra and Isis had a meeting with Ashta at Mt. Shasta while he was about 5 kilometers away, and his presence was still very strong, hardly bearable. Their temples are on the etheric level, for example in the Himalayas at altitudes of 5,000 meters and above. Then Cobra showed a well-known picture which now he described as a photo that he got from the dragon forces. In December 2014 the goddess Domu came on Earth with a physical body, is his portal activation, and lives now on the surface of the planet to support the balancing of goddess powers. The Pleiadians are our sister race. If we would meet them on the street, we can hardly recognize any difference from our approach. They help us as much as they can. They supported certain people, such as Tesla. Their ships are generally rather small, up to 10 kilometers. Cobra showed a photo. One of their main bases is located on the moon and its purpose is to send positive energies to the Earth. Cobra displayed a photo of the Apollo mission of NASA and the same photo of last month, where the base is visible. Cobra showed another photo which he took during his flight above the stratosphere, at about a height of 14 kilometers, with a ship of the Pleiadians, at greater distance. The Pleiadians have bases on Bora Bora on Earth, like mentioned above, and in the Himalayas in the border region between India and China at the Konkalu mountain pass. Years ago there were numerous pilgrims in this area which took photos again and again. The Chinese military closed off this region because it got too popular. The Indian media published outrightly monthly reports at that time. The Syrians bring energy of joy to planet Earth. Before the quarantine the Syrians incarnated as whales and dolphins on Earth to stabilize the light grid in the oceans. They are really very intelligent and use telepathic contact. Cobra showed a picture of a Syrian mothership which is greater than 500 kilometers, a standard size as he said. Then he showed that such a ship has the same energy structure as a Taurus, yet it is not made from steel, iron, or bricks. Instead it is an energy field that creates matter in the same shape as light beings have got one. The dying of the whales is being provoked by the dark forces, they use scalar technology to interfere their tracking and to kill them in this way. Cobra showed a picture of Syrians. The humanoid form is the most common in our galaxy and is applicable to about 70% of the races. About 20% are reptilians, the rest of 10% is spread on all further races. Cobra showed a picture of a reconnaissance ship of the Andromedans. He had seen just such a ship in a hangar of the RM. Later he found this picture on the internet with the same caption. Somebody who was aware of this must have been published this. He showed another picture of a Hokkaido ship of the Andromedans of a SSP of the Japanese. Cobra once again talked about Planet X. The orbit can be seen as red in the picture and is located on another level than the rest of the planets in the solar system. Planet X is hard to find for this very reason because it has been sought mostly in the level of the ecliptic, the level where the other planets have their orbit. A young Brazilian scientist had done a scientific thesis in Japan about Planet X. This was suppressed by the mass media, as well as other available pictures. On Hawaii there is a huge telescope and on Maui is being situated an immense U.S. command center via which the Chimera monitors the telescopes. In this huge computer center every picture is being controlled and censored what to publish. This concerns also pictures of Planet X, SSP ships, and so on. The dark forces want to twist the disclosure in their favor. So there had been published completely wrong data as Planet 9 about Planet X. A base of the light forces is located here in the Mersenius moon crater. In a report from September 15, Cobra mentioned that it now can be found on Google Moon. A Mexican once found it when he discovered this tower. Scientists now provide strange explanations for the shadow of this tower. The resistance movement, RM, is a civilization that lives like the Agartha in their own world below the surface of the earth. The population above the earth is not aware of this. A. Kirchner, a Jesuit, was one of the first people writing about the underground realms. In his book he published a map, of the 16th century, which shows an astonishing accuracy. What he wrote is more comprehensive than science knows nowadays. For example, there is a sea which is located in Switzerland deep down under the Alps and supports whole Europe with drinking water. Cobra showed a picture of the areas in the underground. He said that they have got even seas, buildings, and crystals in their environment. Then he showed another picture of a typical RM command center near the surface. An elevator as a gateway leads about 30 meters down. It serves as a lock, like in a surgery, whereafter they scan for nanites, microbes, and so on, which are removed to not introduce germs. He showed 2 further pictures of underground cities in the vicinity of Asia. Ascension Conference Notes Part 3, Glarus, Switzerland. ISIS on Saturday, April 16. ISIS led us through the following subjects. I have tried to write down as many of her words and formulations as I could to bring the energy of the experience as much as possible to you. Indeed, I hope that this wonderful energy that we all have experienced shall reach you. The energy work during the conferences keeps a major role for the whole process of our transformation. Meditation and mantras in such a big group radiate a deep, powerful energy. I did not mention all of them in my text. Antares. The chalice of light. Isis Astara, if I open the door for the light, I am the chalice of light, with my body, soul, and spirit. Our physical body limits us to the realm of space and time. The truth is we are multidimensional beings of divine light. The more consciousness we have, the more light is flowing through our bodies, so we grow and grow until we are the temple of light. To recognize our bodies as temples of light, first we let go of attributes that limit us in doing so. While we learn to let go of such, we begin to see our bodies with new eyes. Many terms we used in duality served as a tool to orientate ourselves, as for example masculine and feminine. To experience us in our bodies, we realized ourselves as feminine/masculine. Our bodies were created for our soul to enter into the physical world. We are divine sparks of light, and this light fills every of our cells. With our expanded view, we now can recalibrate our attitude towards our bodies. The chalice symbolizes the divine feminine, our body here on earth being a portal between dimensions. We have been created as women/men, and we now can both be a chalice of the divine feminine through our feminine qualities. The birth of life occurs through this chalice. New life as we know it begins in the womb as a spiral. The feminine body indeed is able to channel through itself life from another dimension to come here into the physical. Within the sacred geometry we see this process as the Vesica image above. This, for very good reasons, is considered and indicated as the miracle of life. It is an indispensable important task for women to learn to give themselves acknowledgement for this, as they are a channel to give life. For men it is essential to, equally, to dive into what that really means, to understand, appreciate, and to truly support women. Especially now in the time of the return of the goddess, it is crucial to bring the divine feminine energy into appropriate cosmic flow also in the masculine body. It must be their allowance for the feminine consciousness inside of the feminine and masculine bodies. The energy wants to go through it. We both are the mothers that gave birth to the new golden age by channeling the divine feminine energy. Let us just start by honoring and respecting the divine feminine energy in every one of us. As soon as this happens, the divine feminine and the divine masculine begin to move, and old outdated patterns of both are being healed. Strong divine masculine energy needs strong divine feminine energy, and the other way around. We learn to know how and why we need each other to come into balance. The divine masculine energies such as strength, courage, power, giving protection, action, etc. help the man to find himself and also the woman. This is due to the fact that when a man is in his divine masculine strength, he then is capable of supporting the woman in bringing her divine feminine energy to flourish. We can transfer this new understanding also into our own personal processes to the hidden aspects of both of these energies inside of us. The divine feminine energy is strongly connected with the physical body, within the senses and the emotions. When we are in balance, we allow ourselves to speak the truth, to be consciously awake, instead of being in the old pattern of fighting through our lives, to go into victimhood and to see everything as very difficult. May the participation at the Ascension Conference do its part, to help us understand how to exit the role of victimhood. In many of our relationships with ourselves as well as with others, we were stuck in various conditions, experiencing depression, lack of strength and feeling stagnancy in personal progress. All of this is encoded into our being up to the present time. Now it is time to exit that old role. The new energies, especially of the last few months, do not allow any of those games any longer. The energies are lifting us out of the drama. To be the chalice for the divine feminine and for the divine masculine means to be a master of our energy field. Thus we get to know the game. For leaving the state of victimhood in relationships, it is essential to master the now moment. The past is unimportant, the future has not yet come. So the only thing we can do is to master the present moment, no matter what the situation. There is no more reason for drama, no need to be aggressive or dominant. Why is this? After the end of the Maya calendar, the linear time has come to an end. Since the shift to the alignment with the galactic heart, we perceive time differently, like spiral energy. It is getting important for us to understand we must stop seeing our bodies as feminine or masculine only. As chalice of love, that we are, we give self-respect to our own beings and we change our perspective onto our bodies away from the materialistic view into the divine view. We are all parts of the same energy field, the same matrix. All our cells contain the divine spark, as all nature does. In the outer world, more than ever before, everything each of us radiates manifests into reality. Now is the time for women to decide to truly respect the divine masculine energy, for men to decide to fully inhabit the sacred masculine and also to truly respect the divine feminine in women. It really is a decision. Men do no longer need to be afraid of women, of their power through which they are in position to birth life. The feminine body already is a divine chalice being able to birth life. Bringing life from another dimension down here is a huge act. Sometimes this elemental force can appear a bit threatening. Until now, on the one side men were afraid of that energy and they reacted with control and dominance, and on the other side, for women it is of the utmost importance to immediately stop to castrate men, to keep them weak by criticizing them to do or not do this or that. Men react to criticism by providing little support, which leads to more criticism. The chakras in our bodies have colors of the rainbow. The white light is a rainbow. Both bodies are sacred and they are portals for light. I am sacred equals the light is sacred. It is the same. As soon as we leave state of judgment and stop ignoring divine truth, we identify creation as the true essence. Isis notifies that we already know everything she is telling us. The new energies require us to leave the battle and the system in order to reconnect with our true nature. The law of choice, the decision. As I know I have the power of choice, I am able to bring back my power to create my life. Our lives are based upon our decisions. The law of choice needs our deeds more than words, more our activities, and to actively use the law of free will. If we want to be masters of the ascension process, we have to become masters of free will. Our free will, of course, has been dramatically suppressed in the past, so we escaped either into victimhood or dominance. Previously we did not feel ourselves as creators, we just said yes to things that brought us somewhere. Now is the time of learning to say no. Thus we are capable to leave every situation. Say no if you do not feel okay, do not endure something or accept something that does not feel helpful for your true nature to rise. So, the question is, what is the right choice? As we are a chalice of light with our I am presence, we are masters of our energy field, firmly anchored with our heart within ourselves. We must learn to connect with our inner director, our inner leader. By our free will and our inner director we step into light, love, and abundance, our intuition guiding us. If we truly understand the law of free will, we have the chance to become true masters. For instance, if we do not know what to do, we have to learn to be very honest with ourselves and deciding from that place, setting borders. Please do all exercises saying truthfully yes and no. Mighty I am presence. We can read many books about I am presence. During the ascension process, earlier or later, we will go together with our Mother Gaia through the process of experiencing I Am. Ascended Masters have introduced knowledge about I Am that I Am. We are all light of Creator and confirm the fact being a divine spark by saying I Am that I Am. Numerous pieces of knowledge about the I Am presence have been given by the Ascended Master St. Germain, who appeared to a wonderful man at Mount Shasta. Godfrey Ray King has written books about it and was enlightened later on. We are conscious sovereign beings of light. Our rights are enshrined within our chakras. Free will is strongly connected with our ascension process. By strengthening our free will, we draw closer to ascension. Free will is anchored within our solar plexus. As we are each a chalice of light and connected with our inner director, and as we choose with our free will, then we are co-creators. This decision is being made with absolute honesty to ourselves. Freedom requires obedience, not to dogmas but to our inner guidance. Then we are free. When we listen to our heart-connected inner guidance, we have no more fears of our decisions. We will manifest peace. For those decisions, we dive into awareness in choosing paths, focus and actions. By the decision, focus and visualization connected with I Am, we create miracles. Every chakra has its element and by the mantra its own sound. The sound of I Am is Soham. Soham originates from Sanskrit and the meaning is I Am. Together we chanted that mantra, and Isis said it is useful to repeat the mantras 3, 9, 27 times or more. St. Germain through a book teaches us that first we must give attention and awareness to our own I Am presence and connect ourselves with our own I Am that I Am before we connect with the Ascended Masters. This describes a way of approaching ascension. There are many groups exercising I Am together, and this is not something mechanical, but indeed something very energetic. Do your I Am presence invocations with feeling. If you wish to begin an invocation for help, start with Beloved Mighty Power of I Am, choose a command through the inner director to remove negative energy and end with So be it. The most important message we may take with us from the Ascension Conference is this: conscious application of our free will. The light respects free will and does not allow interference. As we realize that we have been manipulated and cut off from ourselves, we can enter into zone of free will again by reconnecting with our own power. By our free will decision to consciously invoke forces of light, we receive support from them, as soon as we ask for it. When we are connected with our free will and invite them, they are allowed to help us. Please think about it, what we can do as a group to bring forth the liberation of the planet. Already during the conference we brought down the new energy and information and spread it with our powerful united field. At various occasions we meditated during the conference, and at this point we chanted an Atlantean mantra. It strengthens our I Am presence. Isis invited us to feel the mantra deeply and connect with our free choice and free will.
For additional information, please visit our website, theeventiscomingsoon.com, and our Facebook page at facebook.com/theeventiscomingsoon, your alternative news source for disclosure and the event. Make sure you search our library of videos. You may have missed some very important information and intel. Remember to subscribe to receive updates on our new videos.
Be sure to visit our sister channel, The Event is Coming Soon, for more information and intel.
Stay tuned.
We leave you in the love and the light of the one infinite Creator. Go forth and rejoicing in the power and the peace of the one Creator. Victory of the light.
Event is coming soon. YouTube channel.